Hey guys, welcome to the stream. It's day 65 of the devlog for Groenland. And what I'm going to do today is a bit of file tidying up and that type of thing. Now, what I'm going to do is we've got job animations here, right? But we're going to have to split these up into the different characters or skeletons. So what I'm going to do, we have 3 skeletons, right? So I'm going to say SK underscore VI because I believe that's one of our skeletons. Okay, now I'm going to create another one. We're going to call it SK and we're going to call it Viking, right? Because I believe that another one of them is actually, because the thing here is, right, we've got this NPC, okay? Now, hey, get ready games. Good day, mate. Oh, I had a good joke there, but I can't remember what it was. It's the one about the Austria? Instead of Australia, what is it they say? I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, good day. If indeed you are from Australia. And if you are from Australia, what time is it in Australia? Now, I was looking at this, right? You've put me off my game. Right, so we're looking at the mesh here, right? And this is the SKVI, okay? So, we know about that. Oh, from Canada. My colleague who's working on this with me is from Canada. Also. Now, people from the UK don't say good day, mate. You're thinking it. That's the joke, right? You say you sound Austrian. Well, when it's meant to be actually Australian. Right, so what I'm going to propose here that we do is, for the sake of clarity, right, we should really rename this. No, we don't say good day. That's an Australian thing. No. We say good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on the time of day. So, the problem here is, right, now, that we've got this structure, okay? And we need to know which animations are related to which skeleton, right? But we also need to know which skeleton each of our NPCs use, right? So what I was looking at there was, this is the female character, right? And she's using SKVI, right? And this is where you have to try and, as I said, keep things named in a sensible manner, okay? So in theory, what I should really do is rename this, right? And we should say, well, she's named female A, right? And then we should say SKVI, right? So that tells us what skeletal mesh we're using, SKVI, okay? So for our next one, right, we've got male A, okay? And it looks like male A is using SK Viking. Okay? So, what we should really do is rename him to Viking male A underscore SK Viking. Okay. Now this is going to make it easier when we actually create the data tables to store the montages, etc., of which animations we're going to use and all the rest of it, right? Because these all use different animation blueprints as well, even though they're all technically the same, right? They're targeted at different skeletons, right? So this one, this character is using something completely different. So technically this one shouldn't be used at all, right? So, with that in mind, we created our spawner, if I can remember where to put it. Okay. Now, I could just click on that, that would give me it. VP worker spawn, browse that. Okay, so in here we've got this, but we know we should not use this, okay? We should delete that, right? So we should use that, we should use that, okay? So I'm just slowly thinking my way through this and trying to fix problems before I get to them, okay? Now, this array is going to be of the different NPCs, okay? Now, I haven't decided if we're going to use a static table or not on this, right? Or a static data table for each different worker, right? So the worker is going to have a worker number, okay? Now, they will need to have a certain number because each worker has to have their own work location and their own sleeping quarters or their bed, right? And that has to be set up, right? Which I'm already doing. But when we actually go and get that character, it's whether or not we select what character we want or if we let the game pick a random character, okay? So at the moment these are our two random characters, right? Now the issue now is that these two characters work off basically different animation blueprints and different montages for their jobs, okay? So the point this afternoon is to get these jobs and get these job animations. Hi Mark Wynn, how you doing? Get these into their correct categories, right? So, for example, these are obviously all targeted at one skeleton, okay, and it's the Viking one. So what I can do is, if I select all of these, I should be able to drag these all into here. I'm good. I'm just doing a bit of tidying up before we start. I'm just doing a bit of job animation, tidying up the file structure so that we can get this to work. Right now, no, I can't do that. Get ready games. It doesn't matter because, okay, you have a question mark, when go for it. Anyway, yeah, so these are our base location animations for her, right? This is the animation blueprint. Now, when I renamed this, or it decided it was going to do its freaky wee what is better, a laptop or computer? It depends what you're going to do. If you do it all in like a static location, then a computer, right? If you want to do it on the couch while you're watching the TV, and then outside in the sun, or on the move, on the train travelling, then obviously a laptop, right? The better option would be to have both if you can, right? So that you can do both, but it really depends on your circumstances and the way you normally actually do it. Right, so we need to get this dude, right? And we need to find out. I've had a little bit of experience with it, but it was a long time ago. I have done some video tutorials on it, but it was about 3 to 5 years ago. Right, so you've put me off again. Forgot what I was going to do. Right, what I was trying to do was get this character, right, which was the Viking male A, right? And that's his NPC's base BP, right? So we're going to stick that in front of her, right? So it's actually in here. And we're going to rename this. Tell you what, I can't really at the moment. I can show you a few mechanics, right? I'll explain in a second, right? NPC's base BP underscore F, right? So that keeps it in line with the name of the other one, right? Right. This is my test map where I do all of my testing get ready games, right? I wouldn't do it. You can do it as a string, right? But you could do it as a tag, but it isn't really going to solve the issue, right? as we go forward, you'll realise what the issue is, right? It's because each of the jobs or animations have to be retargeted to every skeleton, right? Now, if I'm randomly spawning a job, right, and then I randomly select the skeletal mesh, okay, then the character has to, then I need to know what montage is linked to that skeletal mesh, right? So this skeletal mesh is for spearfishing, right? But this is the one for the female only, right? So I can't use this for the male or it won't work, right? So when I spawn a particular skeleton, I need to then, after the fact, add in certain things, right? Now, the other thing here is, and I'll show you, and this will give you a better idea, is because it's not only the montage, right? It is different parts of the skeleton, right? So, let me see. Where is it? Where is it? Right, it's going to be in here, right? Right, so this guy here. Okay. Now, and it's actually not even that. It's the job interactions, right? It's actually, I believe, is it in here? Yeah, this tool mesh, right? I've had to add this, right? So that you can select the right tool for the job that you're going to be doing, right? So for example, if you're spearfishing, then you pick up a spear or you spawn a spear in their hand, right? So that they can use it to like spear fish. If they're chopping wood, then it's a different mesh. It's an axe, right? If you hang on a second, Mark, when I'll show you some mechanics, right? I don't really have one. I don't use tutorials like anybody else, right? If you're talking about like people who make tutorials for Unreal Engine and stuff. Right, but anyway, back to the point. If you just give me a second to finish the explanation of this, right? What I've got to do is I've got to know what job they're doing, right? To pick the job montage, but also I've got to put the correct tool in their hand, right? So the problem with that is our skeleton has different bone names, so I can't attach it to the same bone for each of these skeletons, right? These are only the types of problems that you come across when you're actually doing programming, right? That you realise, wait a minute, that's not going to work. Or wait a minute, I'm going to have to do some extra 40,000 things to get this to work, you know? And it's just the way of the world, right? But you'll notice, if I go to her skeleton, right? And I basically open her up, right? The names of the bones are slightly different, right? And if they're slightly different, I need to know what the difference is. So if I'm putting it in our left hand, and in one skeleton it's called hand_L, and then in another skeleton it's called L_hand, that obviously becomes a problem, right? And that's not even to say that these relate directly to like the same position, right? Because in a skeleton, you know, one might be more complex, where when you position the tool in their hand, you need to position it under actually a different bone to get like the same position relatively, okay? So I'm going to have to think of that one. But the point here is to basically get a data table where if a particular mesh has been chosen, then I automatically go to the data table, match it to the job, match it to the mesh, and then pick out the montage and the bone name, right? So that I can then attach it properly and play the correct montage, right? That is the goal here, right? So let's have a look at a couple of mechanics for Mark Win. Right. So, first of all, she reacts to the wind. Okay, but you can go, that actually switches that on. Right, so she will react depending on which way she's turning. Then it will go off. That's like a switch for if you go inside or outside. That switches it back on again. Right. Now, some of these we haven't quite got the animations for. I'll show you in a minute what I mean by that. Right, so basically interaction, you can pick up stuff. Right, now we actually need that to light this fire. Okay, and I'm walking at a snail's pace now because I was working on, as you basically run out of health and energy, your speed goes down that you can walk at, right? But you need the wood to light the fire. Then that lights the fire, that raises the temperature, and that raises your core temperature, etc, etc, right? Now I'm going to put the time back so that we're not going at 100 miles an hour, so everything isn't running like 100 times faster than it should under normal conditions. Okay. Right, this is it here, I believe. Put that in there. As I said, I had done that just for testing purposes, as this is the test map. This 150 is showing you the current walk speed, just in case you're wondering. Right. So this isn't going to go down anywhere near as fast, right? But this is showing you stuff working, right? So you can take stuff, that's food, you can take that, that's food, right? You can open your inventory, blah blah blah, tells you what it is, etc etc. You can click on it, then you can go in here and you can take a look at it, blah blah blah. And you can use it, but I'm not going to in this case, right? Because I'm going to show you something else, right? So we can light our fire. Right? And you'll notice that the you'll probably not see the temperature gauge going up because it's covered by the 150. Right, but it now tells me I require an item because it's ran out. Okay, but now what we can do is, this is the crafting. Okay, we can go into crafting. There's a couple of items you can do. This takes 2 of these to make, so if we craft it, right, it does the crafting, right? So you'll notice that it's removed our stuff for crafting into our inventory. Then we have storage boxes, right? Where you can move stuff and keep it in a storage box. So you can drag and drop that, right? If I don't mess it up, you can drag this into a storage container. And that will all be saved, right? Next thing you can do, you can climb up ladders. Oh yeah, the snow does that, so you can see where people have walked, etc. in the snow. Right, so you can climb up ladders. We need an animation for the end of this, as you will notice in a minute when it does that weird thing. But that's just because I haven't got an end animation to finish it off. Right, next thing you can do is you can get out your bow right. I don't know why it's not doing that. Right, I've lost input, but I'll do it for the start. Right, and then you can shoot deer. You can shoot the wildlife. Right, we can put that away, and then what you can do is you can run up and you can skin it. Right, you'll cut it open. Then you will receive food. That will go into your inventory, and then you can eat it. Okay? So if we go into our inventory again, you'll see that we've got our deer meat, etc, etc. Then if we go into our storage box, that was because I restarted it, that other thing wasn't there, but obviously we can keep that for later. But obviously we can drag that back out into your inventory. Right, we can go to our inventory, click on it, and then if we click use, it adds to our food, right? This goes up, right? There's also bad guys, and then there's, yeah, this is the guys I was talking about, by the way, right? So, like, for example, you need to attach this guy's axe, depending on the job, right? He's doing chopping wood, right? Now, these ones aren't created randomly at the moment, or kind of dynamically, but they give an exact idea of what you're doing. But you'll notice that he's got a spear, right? And he's doing a different animation, right? So what I am setting up here is a way to do it dynamically, right? That basically at the start of the game will decide for itself what skeletal meshes to use, right? If I want, then it'll match the skeletal meshes to the correct montages plus the correct tool, and then it'll attach it all, and then it'll just work, right? Now, absolutely no problem with this. This will work. My problem is if we start doing more skeletons, or more skeletons enter the scene, then it's going to create a much larger data table, which still again doesn't really cause that much of a problem, but it's just a pain in the bum. One more thing, let me just have a look at this for a second. Right. If you're still there, Mark Quinn, this is a teaser trailer for the game, okay? Which shows off some of the gameplay elements, plus actually some of the actual map rather than this, right? Also, there's other things in here, right? Like, for example, keys that open particular doors. Like, this door wouldn't have opened unless I'd picked up that key, right? So there's lots of gameplay elements in here that are working, right? But as I said, the teaser trailer will give you a bit more idea of, like, there's zombies and stuff that, and well, they're not really zombies, they're infected that run about, and you can only shoot them by shooting them with arrows, but those arrows have to be lit in a fire, right? Which means that then this becomes important, right? So, like, for example, once again, we'll light this up, right? Now, I don't know if this is going to stay on long enough. Hopefully it will. Okay, maybe it won't. Now, there's something weird going on, because this isn't switching into aim mode. I did there. Right, but obviously you can fire arrows, right? And if we go up, you will see what? Didn't fire the arrows. Yeah, there's something going on there. Yeah, it did fire there, I think, because you saw, yeah, see that? We actually did manage to do a Robin Hood shot. Right, but anyway, yeah. We'll have a look at that one later. So, basically what I'm doing is I'm setting the file structure up so that it makes sense, right? So the job animations, we shall have job animations, but the job animations are basically going to be have to be retargeted, right? And I've noticed that if you retarget certain things, like if you retarget a retargeted animation, then it doesn't work, which can be a bit of a pain. Now, if you didn't know, when you retarget these, right, go into here, okay? So anyway, we're going to do animations, survival, and I believe it's just chopping. I don't know which one it is. Is it pickaxe? No, it's not a pickaxe. It's definitely tree chop. Right, it's this one here, right? Okay. Right. So this is the one we want to retarget, right? And I actually think that this is the one we need. No, it's not. We need to retarget this, right? So, we're targeting it to VI skeleton, okay? So we just do that, and then we say retarget. It gets placed in here, which is under the top folder content, and then you've got to move it to where you want it, right? So this is going to go in SK, basically there. Okay. And now what we want to do is drop all of these into here, the SKBI. Okay, and then finally we've got our chop vertical. What we need to do is create a montage for that, right? And that is the montage that we can use when it's matched to her skeletal mesh. Okay. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to find out what we are that's not the one we want. Yeah, it's this one here. Right. So this is what I was working on, right? But this isn't what we want to look at. What we want to look at is where we attach this on the bone, right? Now, as I said, the problem here is we attach. Well, no, it's not there. Right. So basically, we need to check it in here. Here's the tool mesh. We attach it to a socket name called tool. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to go to our skeleton SK Viking and find out where this tool is, right? I've got torch. And this apparently here it's here. Right? Now, what we need to do is find out what this is actually attached to. Okay, so how do we check that? How do we check what this is attached to? I mean, I'm assuming it's ring 01R, right? Now, if that's the case, then what we need to do, ring 01R, okay? Now what we need to do is get our this one and get ring 01R, wherever it is. Right, and then add a socket. And call it tool. Okay. Save that and hope that that is actually the right place. Okay. Now, as I say, we're just gradually building this up. These are the things that we need to do, or she's never going to hold a tool, and she's never going to... We can test it, right? And we can see if she actually holds a tool. Right? Because if we press 5, it's going to spawn a character. And I knew it was going to do that. Right, we're going to worry about that in a minute. Right, so we're going to go play again. We're hoping that, yeah, right, there she goes. Right, you'll notice that now she's got a weapon, or a tool. Okay, but she doesn't play the animation, right? And that's because we've not got the right animation for her for chopping wood. Okay, but we're making progress there, as you can see. Now I'm going to have to have a look at this. Right. We're setting blackboard keys. Now I'm guessing that this isn't long enough. Right? Often the problem with these things are that originally, obviously this asset does not have a delay, right, on running the behavior tree, and that can be an issue. Right, so if ever you're getting weird errors in your behavior tree, that it's basically saying nothing's set, then basically what to do is do your event begin play and stick a delay in before you start running the behavior tree, because if you don't, it'll move on and it'll actually try to start like setting variables in your behavior tree, and the behavior tree actually hasn't actually been created yet, and that will cause you an issue, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a quick cigarette. So if you're enjoying the content, hit like and subscribe. Check out links in the description for the game's Discord, my personal Discord, plus Patreon, and my previous game on Steam. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere, guys. Alright guys, we're back. Right, so we're going to dismiss these for now. Okay. It's basically, right, the problem here is, it's the pawn hasn't been created yet, okay? Because the scenery and everything else is getting, that's, yeah, it's the behaviour tree, because the player has been created, because I'm hitting a button to actually create them, right? But the point here is, I just realised that we've got this struct job and tool, right? In actual fact, we could extend this. In fact, that's what we're going to do, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to say montage to play, right? And we could probably do this. Yeah, right, okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close that down, right? I'm going to leave this as is. Okay. And we're going to create another struct. Right? Struct job montages. Okay. Then have I got, where's the data table? Is it in here? Where's the data table for that? Or am I not using it yet? Problem is I don't think I'm using it yet, right? But I'm going to be having to be using this. Okay. So have I got it somewhere else? Struct the DTs. Job montage to use. Right, so we have this, and we have a montage, and we have the skeletal mesh. Right, so we've got everything that we actually need here. Okay? I've already set this up. Okay? So, in actual fact, we don't need. This is what happens when you jump about things, right? So I've actually got this already. Okay. And this job and tool should be the tool static mesh. Right, and we should have one more, right? Which should be bone name. Okay. Now, the next thing that we should do is we should go into our structs and DTs. Now this is going to be slightly different. Right, this is kinda right, but not quite. Right, what I need is another structure. Right? And it's going to be montage list. Okay? And it's actually going to be these. Right? We're going to be removing these and adding this as an array. Okay? So we're going to have job, which is E worker type, worker job. Then we're going to have a new one called montage, and it's going to be an montage. Right, we're going to save that. Then we're going to go back to our previous one. And we're going to delete this one. And we're going to say montage list. Okay. And that's going to be montage list. And it's going to be an array. Okay. So now we've got this montage list. Okay, and this is for SKV1, right? So what we can do is we can add two members to this list called chopping wood, right? And it's this one. No, it's not. No, it's not. Okay. So it's tree chop vertical. Okay. Then we can add another one. And this is going to be for spearfishing. Okay, put that in there. Right, now we can name this however we want, but what we're trying to do here is match the skeletal mesh. Right, now we could put this as some sort of like what we did earlier, which was SKVI and SK Viking, right? Just to give us some sort of description. Or we could add it to this struct so that we can add like a text just for reference, right? But if we add and then we do our Viking, right? So the first thing we do is we do SK Viking, and then basically what we do is we add his different jobs, right? Now they're all going to have to end up being filled in for each job, because if we don't, it's going to muck up, right? But we've got our Viking here, and there is our chopping wood montage. right? And then we have our spearfishing montage. Okay, so we can save that. Okie doke. So now we're getting somewhere. Kinda, maybe. And what we can do, now that we've done that, is go to our mesh and that's not the one we were looking at. It wasn't that one. Alright, so I believe it's this one, job and tool, right? Which is kind of different. And we do have this set up, I believe. So we have this bone name, right? And it's going to be a name. Struct job and tool. Right, so where is that? Okay, now I have got code that already does this, so we'll worry about that in a minute. Okay, it's not that. Was it in the interaction? Was it in here? You see, we're getting it here. Right. So it's not in here. So the question is it in the parent? Did I put it in the parent? It would make sense if I did. Right, so it's not going to be manage hunger, it's going to be on begin play. Or is it in, like, for example, this? Doesn't, maybe. Okay, where did I put this? Right. So we're gonna have to find this. This is the problem with having so many things to do with quite a big game, that you lose track of things that you were working on, but then you've kind of stopped working on it for a day, and then you come back to it and you can't remember exactly where you did things. Right? Right, now we definitely had it earlier, right? It's going to be tool. Right. We want tool mesh in actual fact. Tool mesh. Right, set tool mesh. right? So it's in the NPC, right? Now, the interesting thing is, I can probably do this in the master. It is actually getting set in the master. Right? Now, that is not a good idea. Except, yeah, it is. That will work. Right, this one is setting up the workstation, so that's fine, right? So the tool is stored in here. Now, the thing here is, what we need to do is, on completion of this, we need to get data table. Get data table. Row names. Right? Get data table row. Right? And we are going to have to put this code in each of our different NPCs. Now, this is probably the wrong one to do it in, because this one is actually inactive at the moment. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save that. Right? I'm going to go to our Viking here, and you'll notice that the code's here as well. Right? So I should really put this in the master, but we're just going to get it working first. Okay, so we're going to get that, then we're going to do it for each. Right, now remember, this is only going to run once at the start, right? Or when it gets fired by the event manager, right? So it's not a huge problem. So we've got job and tool, but that's not the one we want. We want this one. We want job mesh to use, right? Did I just close that? Right. Job mesh to montage. Right. This is going to be the same. Job mesh to montage. Okay. Hi Midgard, how are you, mate? Then we're going to break this out. Then we're going to do for each on this. Now, we're probably going to be doing a break on that, right? In fact, we are. Now, the interesting thing now is that this job here is going to be here, and it's not far enough yet. So we're going to say that equals that. So that's the job type, right? And then we're going to branch off that. And if it's true, we're going to set the montage, and then we're going to break. Okay. So what we need to do is get our montage, which is believe let's have a look here. It's in our NPC interaction, right? And this ain't it. So let me have a look here. This is, yeah, I'm working on it right now. Okay. This is what I'm doing right now. I've had to set up some structs, okay? So in here, we've created a list of the jobs for each skeleton, right? So these are the two skeletons, right, that we've got, and then these are the list of montages for that skeleton's job. So we've got chopping wood, it's her chopping wood, and for her spearfishing, it's her spearfishing. Okay, so now we're just trying to access them. So we're writing the code here. So in actual fact, the montage to play, right, is here. So we're going to have to set it here, which means that this code here is going to get put in a function or something, so that we can call our function, slam the montage into there, right? So what we'll do is we'll actually do that right now. Okay, we'll say function return job montage. Okay, in here we'll have an input, right, and that's going to be job, and that's going to be E worker job, and then we're going to have output, and that's going to be montage, and that's going to be an montage. Okay, save that for now. We're probably going to turn this into a pure, right? And we'll worry about that in a minute. Right, so all of this is going to go into our return job montage, which is going to go here. Okay, and then all of this is going to go into copy. It's going to go into here. drag that out a bit. Paste that there. And to there. Okay. Just drag that over for some reason. Right, so this here we'll just put to there. Keep things tidy. This is going to be row found. And then what we're going to have to say here is we're going to have to set up a local variable for super safety. So we'll call it temp montage, and that's going to be an animation montage, and montage, right? Then we're going to drag it in, we're going to set it. It depends. There's no point in doing it if the performance is absolutely fine. Right, so basically, probably a bit, depending. It really all depends. There's no point in doing it if you're getting sick. If you're hitting your target, right? Why bother? Right? It's really, what you got to remember is that you're supposed to use blueprints, right? It's supposed to be a mixture of the two, right? And for the most part, from what I've read of other people who have tested these types of things, it doesn't necessarily make a huge difference. Right? It depends on your, if you're doing a lot of heavy calculations with a lot of pins, then yes, you should do it, right? But it's not absolutely necessary in all cases. We actually need to pass in the skeletal mesh here as well. Right. Right, delete that. Yes, but it's under very, very specific conditions. It isn't just like all of a sudden, if you write a class in C++, right? It's going to make 100 times the difference. It's under very, very specific conditions. Right, I don't know why that's doing that. Right, I'm going to delete that. Okay. Where's... Where the hell did set tool and job go to? Right, there's set tool and job, right? It's no there. Yeah, that's an interface, we know that. Right, so it's this Viking B. It's this thing here. Event set tool and job. Yeah, but you don't like that for some reason. It was declared in a parent with a different signature. No, it wasn't. Don't lie to me. Right. Event set tool and job. Right, well, there you go. Okay, so the truth of the matter here is we need to pass in the skeleton. Okay, so we'll just make it job class. Yeah, you get used to it, Midgard. So this is NPC master, I believe. Now is it that? NPC. I think it's a class reference. Right, anyway. Right, so that's not great. We've got skeletal mesh. Question is, do we have the skeletal mesh there? Okay, let's have a look at above to see what we've got and what we're checking. Okay. Right, so when we check this, we're getting this job class, right? Now what we should actually do is we can't pass that. Okay. This is a bit crap. For each of these, right? Right, okay. We're getting the actors class here, right? Oh, this isn't the class. Oh no! This is the NPC interaction, not the actual thing we want. Well, this has turned into a little bit more fun than I thought. Right, let's have a think about this. We've got DT jobs, right? But we need the skeletal mesh, okay? Now, the good thing is that we've actually got the skeletal mesh, right? Because we're in the actual mesh, right? So what we can actually do here is this is going to change. Right? A wee bit, not much. What we're going to do is this is not. This is SK for skeletal mesh. So we're going to say skeletal mesh. Okay. And we've still got an issue. We're not out the woods yet. Alright, so we can drag this out a bit. Got our skeletal mesh, right? a brain freeze here. Right. So we loop around if, right, so we say branch here, well, what we do is we say equals we may need to change this slightly. We may need to change this to the class, right? But SK is going in there. And if this is true, then we do this. And then if this is true, we basically set our temp, we paste that, right, and we paste that in here. If that's true, if I can manage to actually work with my mouse, right, if that's true, then we grab this montage and then we bomb out. Right, now which one do we bomb out of? Well, I guess it has to be that one then, eh? Not 100% sure about that actually. Right, so that gets us our loop, first loop. Yeah, so it is there. Right, because once we've got the row, we're only dealing with one row. Right, so that goes to there, which is right. And then this basically goes to here. Okay. So, right, back to here, that goes to there, right, then we grab our mesh, it goes to there. The heck? Skeletal mesh component. So if that's the case, I'm probably not going to be able to copy these. Ah, wait a minute. Right, we say mesh, get skeletal mesh. Haha, thought it had me there for a minute. Oh, how wrong you were. Put that in there. Now, we've got a decision to make here, whether we actually make this pure or not. Yeah, let's make it pure, what the heck. We don't need an execute pin on it. Okay. Back to the event graph. Plug that in there. So now we're pulling our animation, tool, bones, everything from a data table. Okay, or two data tables, right? We've got our montage list, which gives us a breakdown of which job for each, which montage for each job. Then that's added to a data table as another struct, as part of another struct, which has our skeletal mesh. So we can then have our skeletal mesh, then all of our jobs in an array with its corresponding montage, and that's for each skeletal mesh. So we can do this, that's one skeletal mesh, that's the other skeletal mesh, and then we just need to loop through that. Jobs are good, and this won't affect performance in the slightest because it's only going to run once for each NPC, and it's only going to do it on start or on spawn, right? So it isn't going to affect gameplay at all, right? Not that initial code anyway, that's for sure, right? So now, in theory, if I've done this right, now I'm expecting a bug or two here. Come on, you've got to expect a bug or two writing that much code and doing that many things before we test it. We're going to hit 5. Right, there's our dude. Now remember, we're running through that code now. Right, now it looks as if it isn't getting the montage. Right, as I said, I was expecting a bug or two. Now, my scary thing is why it's doing this. Right, but the other thing we need to do, of course, is change our female one, right? But I don't want to do that until we've got this one working properly, right? So, on here, right, we're going to jump in here and we're going to add a breakpoint, okay? We're going to run this. We're going to slide along the floor because we like doing that. Right, as usual, as soon as you need it to actually spawn the right thing, it immediately doesn't do that. Right? And there you go, done it again. I'll fix this offline, most likely. Right, we're going to press play. Five. Right, so it's trying to spawn our guy, right? So we have to get our step overs ready. So we step over, step over, step over. Now the interesting thing, does it ever check this? And if it does, yep it does, we have skeletal mesh and skeletal mesh, right? SK Viking, we don't know what that is. That is a false, right? So we can step over, and it's doing it again. We've got our skeletal mesh, we've got nothing again. Now does it go here? It does. Right, so it is, this is working. And I haven't done the code. Where did I put the code? Did I put in Viking B? What? Where did the code go? Oh, yeah, okay. This is the... This is the function. Right, so job, whatever that is true. So it is that job. Right, so we set temp montage, step over, okay. Temp montage is our chopping wood montage, which is correct. Step over, montage to play. Montage to play is chopping wood. Right? Step over. Now the interesting thing here is, if I resume this, right, I'm going to go for this as our SK Viking, right? Where's our details window? Where's our blooming details window? Right, thank you. Right, here's the details window. It's got an axe, BP chopping wood. Right, we're not worried about the bed. Right, now we need our NPC job. Which will be that one. NPC job and wood. So that looks, everything looks right there. Okay? Doesn't matter what this E job is. It matters for our NPC that this has got chopping wood. Right, chopping wood. Blah de blah. Now, this might actually be a rather silly one. Right? This might be... no, he should be chopping. He should be chopping away quite the merry. Okay. Right, what I'm going to do next is, it might be something to do with that, by the way. I don't think so though. Alright, I'm going to drag these down a bit. Right, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on this, right? This is our chopping wood thing, right? And I'm going to remove that. Okay. I'm going to say clear. Okay. Then we're going to press play. Okay. Then we're going to spawn him, and as usual that doesn't work. See, I don't think these are the problem, right? Because these are just, unless this has got something to do with the job, player interaction, right? I don't think that's got anything to do with it, right? Wait to see, I'll have everything to do with it. Right. I wish she would stop spawning. It's blooming typical, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't actually, you know what? It doesn't actually matter. Yeah, it does. Because I've not put the code in her blueprint yet. That's hilarious. You can be quite funny sometimes on Unreal Engine. Right, here we go. Now, if I press resume, right? The interesting thing here is, we should have our chopping wood. Now remember, we cleared it, okay? So that's going to have it in it anyway, right? And look at that. We have our chopping wood. Right, so we've successfully done exactly what we should have done. He's now just not doing the animation for whatever reason. So it might, again, I might have picked the wrong blooming montage, right? For him. So let's, I don't think so though. But that would appear to be the issue, that we've picked the wrong, it's this one, chopping wood montage. Or is it? Is that the one that I had? See, there's eating montage, sitting, wall lean, blah de blah. There's NPC chopping wood. Which one is it? Is the question. Now, I can't actually put that one in. Right, but what we need to do is get this one. That's the VI. Right, here's the chopping wood one, right? Now, is it NPC chopping wood? Right, and is that the right one in the first place? Yes, SK Viking, right? Chopping wood. There's the montage. Okay. Let's try NPC chopping wood. And this is not using the right mannequin, right? This is using the S mannequin. And this is why I was trying to speak to Kent yesterday and we didn't quite cross paths at the right time. Right. F5. Right. Press play. Play. That'll spawn him fine. There he goes. He's doing it. There we go. So that's dynamically selecting the right montage, the right tool for the right skeletal mesh. Right, but we really need to do some tidying up on this animations because it's causing utter confusion on which montage to use at any particular time. Right. Now, actually, the funny thing is here, see in here, this function should probably go in the function library, right? Because otherwise, I'm gonna have to move it into every skeleton or every NPC blueprint. So it would probably be a better idea to move this into the global functions in the function library. Anyway, I'm going to call it there. So if you've enjoyed the stream, hit like and subscribe. Check out the description for links to the game's Discord server, my personal Discord server, my Patreon and my previous game on Steam. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be back at 8 PM tonight in 4 hours time. That's 8 PM Central. Bye bye for now.